So we will open the hearing for House Bill 370 FN. And we'll call Representative Josh. Thank you. I didn't want to say it wrong.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the Senate Transportation Committee. For the record, my name is Joshua Yokella, Representative Joshua Yokella from Fremont, representing Fremont, Danville, and Brentwood. I am here to introduce HB 370 to you today regarding the medical waivers for window tint. This issue arises because of a bill that I put in a couple years ago, HB 220 from 2021, that was amended by the House and struck out the medical waivers unintentionally for people that have medical issues. And there was no testimony on that. It wasn't really brought up as an issue and something that people wanted to get rid of. No medical people testified that it wasn't needed anymore or anything like that. And so what came to be is that people started getting denied the access to have their waiver that they had previously had for a long time, and the window tint on their vehicle that they've had for a long time. And so then we're failing inspections. And this bill is held over from the prior year, so was retained. So it's definitely affecting people with these medical waivers, and that they're having to either kind of go under the radar, not getting inspected, because some police understand that there's kind of an issue here and needs to be resolved. And so they're trying to get away with not getting inspected until this law is fixed, or incurring the cost of having to remove it and having that medical damage, right, from that they were trying to avoid by having the window tint in, and incurring the cost once this law is changed back, hopefully, to retint their windows. So it's kind of put people in a bad situation. And so this law, I think, is really needs to be fixed. And I hope that you would look favorably on it and pass it as soon as possible. Thank you. And I'm happy to take any questions.
Senator Waters?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. So I guess I'm a little unclear because I look in statute and I see 266-61A. Is that what was repealed, or? Because that has this provision.
Thank you, Senator. So this amendment, or this bill, actually changes 266-61A. So that is the language that we're addressing. It previously had this language, or on the windows to the left and right of the driver, in the language, and also the 35% was previously there in 2021, and it got changed when we allowed window tinting for everyone at 70%. It got changed that they could no longer get their medical waiver down to 30% if they had a medical condition that qualified.
So if I may just follow up.
course.
Now I get it. Thank you for clarifying that, because I was trying to figure out how these fit into the two different places in statute. And then under the existing 266-61A, in terms of the bona fide conditions, that's kind of understood what those are.
Thank you for the question. Yes, I tried in the House to try and clarify that, but the House found that they just wanted to go back to the previous language because it was better understood and all the ramifications, then they could sign on to that a little bit more quickly and help this get along. But yes, it's kind of my current understanding is the director of the safety, Department of Safety, is kind of empowered to kind of look at these requests from the doctors, and then if he has any issues with them, he can convene some advice from medical professionals about if this is appropriate or not.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Senator Ward?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Exactly what medical conditions will warrant tints on the windows?
Well, I believe that's currently up to the doctor. It's kind of, but the languages that I tried to put in the House included stuff like photophobia, vitiligo, skin cancers, stuff like that. It was those types of things that I tried to put into the statute, but under the law right here, it would be up to, it's only for medical doctors, like your eye doctor is not able currently with the language in front of you to say like, hey, you're sensitive to light, and so we're going to sign the waiver. It has to come from a medical doctor.
Follow up?
Yes.
How common is this? How many requests do you have?
I believe that the medical waiver before this law was changed was in the range of about 1,000 for the whole state. But I think that like the state police would probably be more able to give you a closer number before 2021.
One more follow-up?
Of course.
So this only applies to the driver, and that's why you're talking about the two windows on either side? Doesn't affect the windows in the back?
Thank you for the question. The windows in the back are already allowed to go to 35% for everyone, whether you have a medical waiver or not in New Hampshire. So
Okay, thank you.
absolutely.
Any other questions for members of the committee? Okay, so I just wanted to kind of recap. Basically, this is a housekeeping bill because when it got changed before, it left out a very important piece. Was that fair to say?
Yes, I believe that's fair to say.
All right. Thank you for your testimony.
Thank you.
Chair will now recognize Caleb. Maybe?
Labby, close
Labby.
enough.
Tried.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, committee. My name is Caleb Labby. I live in Brentwood, New Hampshire. And I'm in complete support of the bill. My brother used to have the medical waiver before it got removed, and he had sensitivity to light, which would cause migraines, stuff like that, due to the sunlight. Just something that I noticed in the language, on line 2, it says, persons who require for medical reasons after market tinting on the windshield or on the windows to the left and the right. Different times of day, the sun moves. So if you know you're driving up 101, the sun might blind you at 9 a.m. On the sides and then at noon in the windshield. I was wondering if the committee would be in favor of amending or to put in and or windshields and left and right windows. I'd be happy to take any questions. Thank you.
Senator Waters.
Just for informational purposes, Legislative Services doesn't like and or, but I think you're okay with this language of or. I think that will cover what you're
It
concerned.
would cover both.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
All
think
right.
so. Yeah. I've had experience with and or.
Oh,
They don't
okay.
like it.
Okay.
They don't like the word may either.
That makes sense. Thank you.
I think we're okay.
Thank you, Senator.
Any other questions from the members of the committee? Seeing none, thank you.
Thank you.
The chair will now recognize Maria Buckman. Nice to see you, Maria. Maria's with DMV.
Thank you very much. Director Marasco asked that I attend today.
Thank you.
Thank you, sorry. Director Marasco asked that I attend today in his absence. I actually am the person who oversees the program for tinted windows for the DMV. I have some written testimony here for you that I'm happy to go over with you, but I did want to speak to the other comments that were here. There are administrative rules that actually narrow down the requirements for the tinted windows, and they have specific medical conditions that are outlined in that. Extreme intolerance to light, allergic reactions to the sun, melanoma, lupus, or porphyria or any other medical condition which is aggravated by the exposure to the sun. So we do about 800 to 1,000 waivers a year. My testimony here is just explaining that the reverting it back to the previous law before 2021 would be very helpful to us, only because the complaints we receive from customers have been overwhelming, that they are concerned that the medical condition is not being alleviated by the side windows not being part of the medical waiver.
Okay.
I'm happy to take any questions if anybody has anything.
I may just,
Yes.
thank you. So just, you heard me before saying that with the and/or is probably covered by the or, and I just wanted to have that, your sense too.
That's correct, right?
Okay,
It
good.
would cover all three
That's fine.
windows. That's correct.
Senators can say anything they want as if it's true. But,
Yeah, that's
Really
my
sure.
understanding as
Okay,
well.
good.
Absolutely. Yes.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, thank you for your
Thank you,
testimony.
committee. Thank you so much.
Are there any other members of the public that would like to speak to House Bill 370? Okay, seeing none, we will close the hearing on House Bill 370. And we have to wait till 1:15 to open the next hearing. So, take a brief recess.
And Senator, did you see, I had that amendment drafted for this one.
Yes.
And so I just didn't want to I didn't want to jump, leapfrog you on that. I just happened to have it, so I asked Sophie to get it drafted.
Oh, I've already gone over
Okay,
that with
good,
her.
good.
And the person who asked me to draft it,
Yeah.
it's all been taken
All
care
right,
of.
all right, just,
Yeah.
I wanted to have it ready first, but didn't mean to.
Yeah, no, you're good about making sure people, you can't control who comes to you.
We will now open the hearing on House Bill 1122 FN, and the chair will recognize Mark Brown.
Why don't I introduce it?
You want
I'll
to
introduce,
introduce the amendment?
I'll introduce the bill. I'll introduce Senate Bill 1122.
Okay.
It's been introduced.
Oh, okay.
Somebody had to do it.
Okay. Yeah, because he's not here.
That's right.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman and members of the committee. For the record, Mark Brown, Advantage Government Affairs. I'm here today representing the Alliance for Automotive Innovation. We are the trade association that represents the manufacturers that produce most of the automobiles sold in the United States, autonomous vehicle innovators, battery equipment suppliers, semiconductors, and a whole host of other entities along the supply chain in the automotive industry. We're not taking a position on the bill. We certainly appreciate the intent of the bill sponsors and the Department of Safety. We just want to make sure that the language does not conflict with federal motor vehicle safety standards. So we would just like a very simple 3-line amendment. After Section 2, it'd be Roman 4. The provisions of this section shall not apply to a vehicle with an original equipment manufacturer, front lighting system, or front lighting system of a similar type installed as standard equipment by the vehicle manufacturer. In essence, we can't have 50 states regulating vehicle headlights. So I know the intent of the bill is for aftermarket headlamps. I've spoken to Chairman Walsh, and I spoke to Mr. Huddleston at the Department of Safety, and I don't think they have any objections to this amendment. So with that, I'll be happy to take any questions.
Any questions from the members of the committee? Seeing none, thank you for your testimony.
Thank you very much.
There's no one else signed up to speak, but if there's someone from the public that would like to speak to House Bill 1122, please come forward. Okay, We will close the hearing on House Bill 1122. Okay. Oh. Do you want to discuss anything in this session, or do you want to just take a recess?
You and I can chat a little bit about the recess. We got,
All right.
we got not executive.
The Transportation Committee will recess till our next hearing at 1:30. Thank you. and we will hear House Bill 1138 FN. Who's, is there someone?
I will introduce House Bill 1138, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Senator Waters, and the chair will call Captain Michael Eastman. Nice to see you.
Great to see you as well.
I won't belabor this very long. This is really a bill to change the penalties for operating OHRV and a snowmobile with a suspended driver's license. Really, it brings the motor vehicle specifications or penalties into parity with OHRV and snowmobiles. And this really came out of the HB 1188 OHRV Commission, where we've discussed many issues amongst OHRVs specifically. And this was one thing that's always kind of been a pet peeve for me, was this law that currently, I mean, you have to have a driver's license to operate over the age of 16, a snowmobile or an OHRV, and you cannot operate with a suspended driver's license. And the penalty at this time is only that you get a $186 fine. So you can go out and continue and to operate, and there's no enhancement of a penalty, and you just can kind of go on your merry way and do that. And we've seen that over the years, where I wrote a ticket to somebody with a suspended driver's license, and 2 weeks later, he's found by another officer operating with a suspended driver's license and just gets another $186 fine. This would change that, where it would be $250, and then it would enhance then up to $500 subsequent. And then within the 7-year period, they would continue with that $500. So I think if we don't want people operating on our roadways without driver's licenses, we certainly don't want them operating snowmobiles and OHRVs. And it's just once again, a safety issue as well. So that's how we feel about it. And thank you for letting me testify today.
Any questions for members of the committee? Okay, Senator Ward.
So they're driving with a suspended license, and you're giving them a citation. How do you always get that $250 mailed in?
Right now, it's only the 186, but yes,
They do
would.
pay it?
Yeah, generally, can't say it's paid right away, but we get it eventually.
You eventually get it, okay.
What we find is people in their younger years have issues, and then as they decide to clean up their lives along the way, they tend to pay it. Most people are pretty good about it, though.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, seeing none, thank you. There's really not anybody out there so much, but I do have to ask if there are any members of the public that would like to speak to 1138. Please come forward. Seeing none, we will close the hearing on 1138, and we will go into recess until 1:45. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. We're back from recess. Welcome to Senate Transportation, and we are going to hear House Bill 1045. Thank you. The chair will recognize Tim Dunklevy. You say that right?
No, ma'am. I'm Representative John McDonald from Carroll District 6.
Okay. Hold on one second.
Certainly.
I have to know like, there's no name of who I'm calling to the, to the, you see? So just going forward, we have to know that.
I apologize. That's my fault. It's not the clerk's. This is my first time
Oh,
to
okay.
come before you folks, and I apologize for
Oh,
the
no, it's
inconvenience.
okay. I just want to make sure, I know who I'm calling. So, all right, proceed.
Thank you. Again, my name is Representative John McDonald. I'm from Carroll District 6, which is the fine communities of Wolfboro and Tuftonboro, New Hampshire. And I'm here to present to you House Bill 1045. And just to give you a little background, the state of New Hampshire and the U.S. Coast Guard receive reports every year of recreational boat operators who are suddenly and unexpectedly thrown from their vessels. The events can lead to injuries and to death. During these incidents, the boat continues to operate with no one in control of the vessel and may maintain on course and may also go in a circular direction. The engine cutoff switch, which this bill pertains to, is used to prevent runaway vessels and threats they pose to people in the water and surrounding boaters. Go over the bill a little bit. Back in April of 2021, the United States Coast Guard adopted the engine cutoff switches. They're required on all boats less than 20 feet manufactured after 2020. And I've got an example in my pocket if I could pass it around. Somewhere in one of these pockets, I've got it. Can I give it to you, ma'am?
It's like at the gym on the track.
Yes.
It is.
If I could get that back, because if I don't return it to the Marine, I'm going to have to buy a $200,000 boat that goes
might not
along
be
with it. It's a pretty basic device. This is an example where it clicks into the control panel. You clip that around your belt, and then if you fall out of the boat, it automatically kills the motor, so the boat will stop. Previous to that, the boats would continue on either straight or in a circular direction at whatever the throttle was set at. You may recall a year or so ago, there was a Marine Patrol boat that was in Liquid and Pisaki trying to stop a boat that was out of control. That boat rammed the patrol boat, flipped it over, and the two officers were thrown into the water. This will also deal with a ski craft, will be required on a ski craft. At this time, they're not required on the jet skis or the ski crafts. And any questions you folks may have, I'll try to answer them for you.
Thank you for your testimony. Senator Waters?
Thank you. So, what do the states around us do?
Some of the states, I think there's around 9 states that have adopted this requirement. All the boats manufactured after 2020 will come with some type of engine shut-off control. So there's no added expense to a boater.
And this is my ignorance, but I didn't have a chance to look at 270-30C. Does this apply to like jet skis and other kinds of watercraft or just boats?
There's actually a jet ski is considered a boat.
Okay,
And if
so
it's
under this
manufactured
definition-
after 2020, you'd have to have this.
So we would require this of people operating jet
Yes.
skis. Okay. All right. Thank you. That's good. Madam Chair, I'm all set.
Okay, any other members of the committee? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Chair will now recognize Tim from the Department of Safety and Marine Patrol. Welcome.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, honorable members of the committee. My name is Tim Dunleavy, and I come to you today representing the Department of Safety and Marine Patrol. I will be brief, but I'm here to offer our support for this bill. This is a bill that has been adopted by the Coast Guard and is in federal law. We have recognized for years that we have these types of accidents happening on our waters on a regular basis. And when I mean regular basis, anywhere from 6 to 12 a year. And oftentimes it involves smaller boats and oftentimes younger children who are operating rowboats without boards, who are not wearing the cutoff switch lanyard. This technology, while required of boat builders starting in 2020, these devices have been installed in boats, many boats, and on outboard, smaller outboard motors for many, many years. So the devices are out there. It's only been required by the boat builders to install them since 2020. Some may find the lanyard cumbersome. I wanted to point out to you, our department has had a policy for our officers to be wearing these while on patrol for many years. And we actually, at an added expense, but it is an option if you wish, to have an electrical component mounted at your dashboard. And with this little little radio fob, can be worn in a little wristlet, it can be worn in a little belt pack, it can be just slipped into your pocket. You can have these on your boat, and when you leave a pre-programmed distance away from the controls, your engine will shut off. So if you fall overboard, they sell them for pets, they sell them for passengers. So that if anybody goes overboard, that engine stops. It's particularly important when the operator falls overboard. We have had fatalities where fishermen have fallen overboard in the early spring, first ice out, and because of the water temperatures, they weren't able to support themselves swimming to get back to a boat, even if it had stalled. These are continuing on down the lake. Oftentimes circling at high speeds, the operator who's been ejected, or sometimes traveling in a straight line heading for shorefront property, swimmers, other boaters. So it really is a dangerous circumstance. Some may say, well, this is a mandatory wear, we're getting into mandatory requirements. The danger with these not only poses a danger to the operator, but to those first responders, you just heard an example, but also to the shorefront property owners who have boats on docks, kids swimming, public beach, wherever it may happen, there are people around in the area, property around the area, that are subjected to these unmanned boats that are going down the lake, oftentimes at high rates of speed. You will see that there are exceptions for anything over 26 feet. National statistics show that after 26 feet in length and up, it's very rare for someone to be ejected. So our law is pretty much mirroring the federal requirement. Less than 26 feet in length. If a boat has an enclosed cabin, you're exempt. And if you are below headway speed or no wake speed, so if you're a fisherman who's out trolling or you're stepping away from the wheel to throw a line on the dock, those are speeds that are exempt from the mandatory wear requirement. It's when you are on speed greater than headway or planing speed. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Senator Waters.
So, for the exemptions, the cabin or over that size, I imagine that somebody being incapacitated and having this effect is much rarer and not the same as ejection, but it is the case that if somebody were incapacitated in a cabin cruiser, that boat would still continue?
Yes, that is the case. We have had people who have had medical events or have had seizures that have fallen to the floor of their boat and their boat continues on down the lake. Those are unanticipated, obviously, as if somebody would have a medical event out here on 93 behind the wheel of their car. Obviously, cars don't necessarily keep going. They, unfortunately, will go off the road, but that does occur on a rare occasion.
So your sense is that it's rare enough that we don't need to legislate on that?
I would say that that's a fair statement.
Thank you.
Any other questions? First of all, I want to just make a statement that I really see the value in this as a safety feature, and this is more out of curiosity. I don't have a boat, so I don't know about insurance, but like your car, there must be boat insurance to insure people's boats, correct?
Correct.
So I'm just curious, if this were to pass, and now we have this great safety feature, do you think that a good selling point, if you will, would be a lowered or safer on your insurance rates because of this?
I know that the National Marine Manufacturers Association was one of the prime backers of the bill at the federal level. And I suspect, but I can't say for sure, ma'am, that certainly insurance rates were a consideration when they made these required by the boat builder to have them available. It certainly goes hand in hand with reducing accidents and property damage accidents, for sure.
It was more of a curiosity thing to me.
Interesting.
Yeah. Any other questions?
I thank you for your time.
Thank you. Have a good afternoon. Are there any members of the public that would like to speak to House Bill 1045? Seeing none, we will close the hearing on 1045.
So Tim,
Yes, sir.
down south, have you ever found one of those little buttons inside an alligator? Just asking. Just curious.
We will not be executing any bills today, so may I ask for a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor to adjourn? Aye. None opposed? Thank you all for coming.
Like a hot knife through butter.
And just for anyone interested, we're not having transportation next week. Okay?